Hi there, everyone, and welcome to Paper Wishes Weekly Webisodes. I'm Sara Newman, and I'm so happy you're joining me for this episode of Saturday with Sara. Today we're crafting with the Teal collection from our friends at 49 and Market, and I'm really excited because this is my favorite color, and 49 and Market produces some of my very favorite papers and embellishments. Today we've got pattern papers, we've got rub-ons, laser cut embellishments, and acetate embellishments too. So let's take a closer look. I'll move aside the acetate package for now, and we can start with our paper pack. So this is a 6-inch by 8-inch pack, and it contains 18 double-sided pattern papers, 3 each of 6 designs. And you'll also have 2 bonus patterns that are on the inside of the cover sheets. So that's also very nice. And you can see here, true to 49 and Market style, you've got some beautiful collage elements. You've also got some really gorgeous tone-on-tone designs here too. Look at those beautiful florals. Everything has kind of a vintage style to it. Beautiful for card making and so many other kinds of paper crafts. And of course, everything is designed to go together perfectly. We're coming to the end here, and so that's the back of the cover sheet that you can see. On the other side is beautiful butterflies. So that's our pattern paper set. Now to go along, we have a set of laser cut embellishments here too. This contains 109 elements on 4 sheets, and I'm going to show you some of these here. So again, beautiful floral elements, some butterflies, everything coordinating. You also have some smaller accents here too. You've got some tickets and some journaling, lots of nice frames as well as borders. And you've got 4 sheets of these. Now what's also nice is on the other side of the cover sheet, you've got some cutout elements there too. So nothing goes to waste. Then we also have rub-ons. I'm very excited for these. I love rub-ons. You've got florals, you've got background textures, you've got words. These are really easy to apply, and they work beautifully as layering elements, either with pattern papers or with each other. So you could take, for example, this butterfly and layer it on top of one of the background elements there too. So there's a lot of creative possibilities with these. Then last but not least, of course, we've got our pack of acetate embellishments. So let's take a look at these. Now I've got one out here so that you can see it's really nice, lightweight, transparent, but it's got some really nice rich color on it. Let's have a look at what these look like when you just put them down onto a piece of pattern paper. So this is a lightly colored tone-on-tone pattern design, and I've just popped down a couple of these so that you can see what they look like. Now this is also fun because if you take a darker color and take the same embellishment, you will get something that looks really different. So again, lots of fun layering possibilities here. Whether you go with high contrast or something a little bit more muted, there is so much that you can do with today's collection. And of course, everything is designed to coordinate perfectly so that it's easy to create cards and so much more. I'm really excited to explore today's possibilities with you, and I'm really glad that you're here with me. So come play with us. This first project I want to show you uses one of my favorite papers from the collection. It's this one here. Because it is so beautifully collaged and layered, I really don't need to add much else to create a nice card design. So I'm taking advantage of the floral motif on either side here, creates a really nice border. And then I've got some open space in here where I can add my focal. Now in this case, I've just made a focal from a separate piece of cardstock. You can see the text underneath here. Then I've glued one of the acetate flowers on top, and then I have a laser cut frame popped up with foam tape, so there's some depth on here. Before placing the frame down, I've attached this little joy embellishment. Now there's a lot going on here, so let's take a look, and we can start with how to adhere those acetate embellishments. It's actually really simple. So I've got one here. You can see that it is translucent, so you can see through it, but there are some dark areas here. There's also some light white areas on here as well. My choice for gluing them down is just a regular old glue stick. And what I'll do is make sure that I'm not using a lot of it but when I apply it, I'm going to apply just a little bit, so I have a light touch, kind of angling this on here, and I'm really just applying the adhesive where those dark areas are, so where the teal is. And then I'm just going to flip it over and place it down. A little bit of glue will do the trick. You don't need to coat the whole thing. And there we go. So it's in place. I don't have glue kind of coming out from everywhere. It doesn't look messy. And this will hold everything in place. So just a little dab of glue stick will do the trick for you. So here I've layered this really pretty floral accent right onto that background paper. And I've kind of tucked the stem underneath this frame here too. I've also got an acetate butterfly just accenting the corner. Now opposite from that butterfly, I have this Joy paper clip. I really like these. Now you get quite a few in the collection, and these are so much fun because you've got several that have some words on them. You also have some that are just plain. And so if you've got the words on, you can just slip this underneath a frame or along the edge of your pattern paper if you want to. Really easy. And if you have some that don't have words, well then you can have, instead of having the smaller centerpiece up top, you could have that going underneath. Let's see if I can do this. Then there we go. So again, you can have it on the edge of a frame. You can also place one on the edge of your paper or your cardstock. So much fun to use. And I think they're really small, but they're so effective when you just need a little something to add an extra finishing touch or to create some balance on your card. Now I've also done a lot of inking around the embellishments, around the frame, and also around the card edges for this card as well as all the other cards that you'll see in today's webisode. And I'm using the pear green ink from Hunky Dory for all of my inking for today. And I think it just looks beautiful with the colors on this paper. In fact, let me show you how I'm inking this. So because it has a nice raised ink pad on here, you can add either a light touch or you can create a lot of really nice shadows on here. I think you can see how beautifully that accents and highlights the edge of this paper. It's so simple and such an effective way to create some more depth on your card. Then for the inside of my card, I have a really simple collage. I've got a rub-on, which is this kind of grid pattern down here. I have an acetate leaf glued straight down. I have a laser cut floral bouquet plus the laser cut happy times message. Now applying a rub-on is really simple. Let me grab a few things here and we can take a look. Again, I've got another piece of this lightly patterned paper and I have my rub-on. So I've cut out my rub-on from the big sheet of rub-ons. When I do that, it's really important that you keep both of these layers together. So there's the rub-on and then there's the liner. So keep them together as you're trimming them out from that backing sheet. And then once you decide where you want your rub-on to go on your paper, then you can take off that liner. Just make sure you're not handling this a whole lot because it can stick to your fingers. Okay, so I'm just going to place this down, kind of smooth it down. I like to sort of fold up an edge of that plastic piece so I have a bit of a handle. Now you can use a bone folder for this. If you have a lot of rub-ons, especially from 49 and Market, you may have an applicator tool. You can see they're shaped the same, so it doesn't really matter which one you use. You just need to have something on hand that you can burnish this design down. So you don't need to put a whole lot of muscle into it, but you do need to have a firm touch with this. And just make sure that you're getting around all of the areas around the outside of your design. And then grab onto that handle if you've got one, and then just gently and slowly peel this up. So I like to go about halfway with these large ones, and then I'll come around here so that just in case something doesn't transfer, I can quickly put it down and continue burnishing. But I think I've done it in this case. And there we go. So I've got my rub-on all in place. Super simple to do, and it is a really great way to layer things, to add a message, and to create a collage of elements. You can also layer your rub-ons, and this is a great technique to keep in mind, especially when you have a collection like today's where you've got lots of background elements as well as focal elements. So my card here has a nice large collage as the focal, and it's actually not one, but 3 overlapping rub-ons. So first I applied this distressed geometric pattern that you can see here, and then I have the flower overlapping, and you can see the stem here coming down on top of those squares. Then I've also got the love more sentiment, and this is overlapping as well. So you can really create some nice layers with this collection. So let's have a look. I'm going to demo this for you. I'll move my card out of the way. Here you can see one of those geometric designs. So I've already applied the rub-on on here. I love these, by the way. I think they just make such a nice, easy little background element. So then I've got another rub-on here, this great big flower. And again, I'm going to lift off that liner piece, holding it carefully, and then I'll kind of figure out where I want it to go, overlapping this geometric design. Place that down. And again, make sure I've got something that I can hang on to pull it up easily. And then grab my bone folder and start burnishing this down. So you might think, well, if I'm applying a rub-on on top of a rub-on surface, that when I pull it off, I'll pull off the first one. That was what I thought at first too. But I tried it out and it turns out it works really nicely. So you can create some beautiful layers with this approach. And again, it works so nicely when you have a collection like you do today, where you've got background elements, you've got focal elements, you've got sentiments. You can really do a lot. Okay, so let's see how I'm going. It's a nice big floral image, so I want to take care and make sure I've got all of the little details on here. And there we go. I think I've done it. And there you can see how nicely that just crisscrosses over there. So I have a really pretty instant design. Now, if I wanted to, for example, take one of the word embellishments as the rub-ons and apply one on top of there, that would also work too. So nice to have some extra techniques to have in mind as you're working with those rub-ons. So getting back to our card, I've simply covered the card front with this pattern paper, and then I've added a background element rub-on up here in the top corner. I've got a border of pattern paper going along the edge. I've done some inking on here, and then I've got this laser cut lace placed down on top. Now for very intricate details like the laser lace, I really recommend using sticky specs adhesive. Now I don't have any more of the laser lace left because I used it for another card, but I figured I could show you with this little laser cut piece here. This has some intricate stems and leaves on here. Now when I'm using my sticky specs sheet, I really use them until they're basically bald. So sticky specs, if you've not worked with them before, it's a micro dot adhesive. So this orange sheet is full of little micro dots. And then I've got my liner sheet on here. So you can see that I've used this for a lot of things. I've got some little innies of some intricate dies still left on there. That's fine. And I'm just going to pull this back and then place down my little embellishment. I'm going to smooth that down and then lift this off. And when I lift it off, I will have some of those micro dots adhered on there. And then what I can do is simply apply it right onto my paper. So this is really useful if you have very intricate cutting dies, or if you have something like this laser lace where if you were to apply a wet glue through here, it would really get kind of messy, and double-sided tape might be a bit awkward. So your sticky specs are going to be a great option for that, as well as lots of other things. Okay, then I've also got some more embellishments on here. I've got butterflies. I've got one acetate butterfly and one laser cut tucked underneath here. Plus these ephemera pieces, some postage and tickets on here. The whole thing is popped up onto this kind of faux notepad, and this is up on some foam tape, again, for a little bit of dimension. Everything is overlapping, so it keeps drawing the eye into that beautiful focal. Then for my card inside, kept it pretty simple. I've got a piece of this beautiful butterfly pattern paper. I've got another rub-on sentiment and a butterfly laser cut as the finishing touch. Our final card is made using the flower pot cutting die, which gives us this really fun shape and creates a pocket style card into which we can tuck a tag like so. This is a really easy style of card to make and a lot of fun too. This is the die that I'm working with. So you can see you've got a couple of large shapes here on the front. You have some smaller shapes in there too. The main piece here is the flower pot. You've also got kind of a decorative topper here, and you also have your tag that will fit right inside. Of course, hot off the press will give you all the diagrams and instructions, plus the card project idea on here as well. So let's have a look. I'm going to show you here with a folded blank white card. So here's the fold going along the side or the top, however you normally have it. You'll take your flower pot die and align the bottom of the flower pot with the fold of the card. So just nest it right up there. I like to scooch it off to the side and then secure it down with some of your low tack tape, run it through your die cutting machine, and then you will have a piece that looks like this. So it opens like so. So this is your pocket. Then what you'll want to do is glue the sides on here. Now, what I always like to do is make sure that I've got enough room on here so that I can tuck in my tag so it can be easily pulled out and put back in. And to do that, I want to make sure that I'm applying my double-sided tape just along the edges up here and not getting too crazy and having too wide of a tape, which will create a really small pocket into which you can't fit the tag. So one time of making a tag or making a pocket that didn't quite fit, and then you will learn your lesson. So learn it from me this time around. Then you've also got another shape here, and this will create a really pretty decorative edge. Now you can simply die cut that and have the edge show through like so. You can also put it up this way too, goes either way. I like to back this with a contrasting paper and have it kind of come down toward the center of the flower pot like so. So you can have it going either direction. It's completely up to you. In this case, I had it down at the bottom because I like to have that beautiful detailing on there showing. So then once you've got your flower pot all glued up, you can start decorating it. And this is how I've done mine. So you can see here I've got some light pattern paper up at the top, backed with a little bit of darker contrasting teal. My flower pot bottom here, I covered the front of the card with this darker teal cardstock, and then I've added some of the faux texture rub-ons on here for a little bit of dimension. Then I've got my lighter contrasting cardstock, and I've got this leaf cluster that's on here. Now the leaves are inked with that pear green, and then I've added on here the Good Vibes tag cut out or die cut, as well as this faux ribbon on here just to create a little accent piece. I've got my laser cut butterfly down here at the bottom, just angling in as well. And then for my tag itself, I've got all of my flowers up here, and this is what will show up at the top of the flower pot. I've got one of these faux tickets, as well as an acetate butterfly, a rub-on, and then this frame on here. So then when this is tucked inside, it will look like this. So I've got a blooming flower pot full of those gorgeous flowers. And that is our final project of the day today. So thank you to our friends at 49 and Market for these gorgeous papers and embellishments. So much fun to work with. And a special thanks to you for joining me today. We're really glad you're here, and we're happy you're a part of the Paper Wishes family. Do feel free to leave a comment. We love to hear what you think. Each item can be purchased separately, and you can see them below. However, we've also bundled them into a creative money saver just for you. For the money saver, see this webisode on paperwishes.com. And if you're watching us on YouTube, have a look in the description box below this video. You'll find a link that will take you to our Paper Wishes webisodes page, and you can see everything I just mentioned. If you enjoyed our video today, we'd really appreciate a thumbs up. It helps people to find our channel. And don't forget to subscribe. We create 3 to 5 videos each week, so there's always something fun to inspire your creative spirit.